How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show,
just the way I knew it was going to start.
If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. To our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike the Pimp Crum. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good. I heard you sneak that in there. And no Pimp wearing these slippers. Look at that. Donald Duck pants and some slippers to the podcast. But I got this on, so it looks like I'm ready and professional. Totally not.
The hoodie puts it all together, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, I knew it was a big Dak episode, so I was getting ready for it.
Is it a winter there in California? What is it, 65?
Oh, yeah, it's freezing. Yeah, it's like 67 degrees. It's might as well. You can freeze ice. Put water outside, it turns to ice.
Well, Mike, where can we find you on Twitter, sir?
At CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy. The boss is texting. Let's see what he says on air.
Go for it. Muhammad. Does Muhammad listen to the show?
I don't think so. That guy has no time, dude. He's a slave. He's a slave to – I don't even want to get into it on the podcast. I'll get mad.
But to his business.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Slave. Poor guy.
And unfortunately, if I recall, he's a 49ers fan as well, right?
Yeah, he's a 49ers fan. He likes Lakers. And he doesn't really follow anything else. Yeah, Boston got Milwaukee, so that one's 2-2 going back to Boston.
Yeah, in the NBA, the second round of the NBA playoffs is interesting because now Steve Kerr is going to be out for the Game 4 Golden State and Memphis Grizzlies game.
Why? What happened to him?
He tested positive for COVID.
Oh, shoot. Well, I mean, they don't have Ja Morant. I know they did well without him in the regular season. They weren't playing the Warriors different. You need Ja Morant. I have a feeling Warriors are just going to sweep the rest of the way of that series.
I didn't think about that. For some reason, I knew that he got injured Game 3, but I forgot how serious it was. So it's guaranteed that he's out for Game 4, right?
Yeah, it was doubtful for tonight.
Okay. Well, Michael, we're off to a strong start here, but where can we find you on Twitter?
Oh, see, I already got you at CD Piglet. It's on you, sir.
My bad. Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, Mike, I'm excited for our discussion tonight. But before we discuss anything football related, we must discuss one thing and one thing only. Of course, I'm referring to Meatless Monday. Mike, what was on the menu tonight?
Some things we'll have to. I think we shelved this discussion till later because our top 5 is related to that, and a lot of the stuff I had today is in there. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll just bring it up then when we talk about the top 5. How about that?
Hey, that sounds great. All right, Michael. Last week we were talking about the Cowboys mantra, and your mantra was that the 2022 season was going to be a developmental year, and I said that the Cowboys mantra would be no excuses. You seem to kind of disagree on that, so I wanted to expound on that a little bit. Other than left guard, what do you feel like would be excuses that the Cowboys would have for a lack of success heading into 2022?
I have a lot of them. The first one is they've gotten worse from last year. They lost Cooper and Wilson and replaced them with a rookie 3rd-round pick and a guy you're hoping can still play from Pittsburgh, who kind of had one good year, but then as Big Ben's arm went away, he kind of went away. They lost O-line starters. Lyle Collins got cut. And Connor Williams signed with the Dolphins. They replaced those with Tyler Smith and then Josh Ball, a 5th-round pick last year or 4th-round pick last year. And let's go, a rookie this year. So, I mean, we don't know what we're getting out of them. They lost big D-line contributors and Randy Gregory, who was our second-best edge, and then Urban, who was our best one technique. So that's 2 more starters. They replaced them with rookies. They got Sam Williams. Now, Dorrance Armstrong will rotate in and stuff, but those were players they already had. Of new players, they got Dante Fowler and Sam Williams. And I have more confidence in Sam Williams, really. Dante Fowler hasn't done anything other than 1 year with the Rams that tells me he's going to be he'll even make the team, And then they also had Ridgeway, who's a rookie. Most rookies don't come in and, play very well versus grown men NFL guards in their first year. And then they didn't improve the biggest weakness from the 2021 team, which was run defensive efficiency. Their efficiency in run defense was never top 20. They just didn't. When teams could stay close and run the ball, they always did, and it beat us up. LVE is still the middle linebacker. Instead of going out and getting a Bobby Wagner or some kind of upgrade, they brought back LVE. He's not very good. I mean, let's just be honest. And then they lost Urban, and they didn't bring in Hicks. They didn't do anything but sign a rookie. And I think they're going to try to play Gallimore there. A little bit more their style, one technique with some pass rush added, but he's not a guy that takes on double teams great. So, there's nothing that tells me they'll be any better versus the run this year, unless they're going to play Parsons at middle linebacker and wear him out that way, which I don't love that either. So those would be the excuses for me in 2022.
So just looking at Steele, let's start with the offensive line. Looking at Steele, do you not think that he could perform as good or even better than what we got from La'el Collins last year?
He absolutely could be, but La'el Collins, would you rather have Steele as a starter or Steele as your swing tackle, considering Tyron Smith's health?
I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to have a player of his caliber as your swing tackle, but I'm happy with him as a starter.
I know, but last year we had him as a swing tackle. Legit. Other than the game he played against the Chiefs, which was his first game at left tackle, and McGovern's first game at left guard, he wasn't that bad at left tackle. Now, he was very good at right tackle, better at right tackle, and I think he was equal to La'el Collins coming off his injury and suspension. I think La'el Collins with time to, get ready and work into it's a better right tackle than Steele is. But I understand this. They're not far enough apart to pay La'el Collins $10 million, but you still lost depth there. And then losing the starting left guard, you hope Tyler Smith's better, but we have no idea yet, So it makes it difficult. You lost two pieces. That's another issue there. And you can't count on Tyron Smith, and Zach Martin's been injured the last few years. So, it just losing depth on the line is difficult.
Okay, so when you look at Connor Williams, though, and you look at Tyler Smith, do you think that maybe after the rookie growing pains, let's just say the first 8 weeks of the season, could you see Tyler Smith potentially at least, again, being as good or just slightly less good as Connor Williams?
I think he could fit what they need better because he's a power guy and a mover and a mauler, which they need more than anything offensively. They need a guy that can just move a body, and isn't it. There was no push. I'm a Tyler Biadasz fan. He's not he doesn't get you push. He just doesn't. Connor Williams doesn't get you push. I had no problem with him. He's an okay starter, but you couldn't have those two together. And then also a often injured Tyler Smith and a newly injured often Zach Martin. It's not going to work. So they had to improve there, but and get new bodies and new styles. But it's still a lot to ask to rotate that many people. If Tyron Smith gets hurt, you could potentially have Josh Ball, Tyler Smith, Tyler Biadasz, Zach Martin, and Terrence Steele. That's not good. Like that, that potentially could be good, but you're talking right now, that's going to cause some issues.
So let's just say, what if our offensive line is just half of what it was at the beginning of last year's season, better than what it was the second half, but not as good as the first half? How would you feel heading into 2022, knowing that would be the case?
All I need the offensive line to do, all I really need them to do is be able to allow the team to run the ball against 6-man boxes. If they can do that, Dak will cut defenses up. But if they don't, and we're going to discuss this later, if they don't, and teams are able to to take away Dak, then we're gonna look like we did last year, where we're kind of middling offense towards the end of the year. It wasn't as good as the first 6 weeks.
Absolutely. So, I know, like you said, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, Mike. But while we're talking here, we're looking at this 22 regular season. Could you see it being a reverse of the 21 regular season?
I can't, because there's only one really great. There's only one quarterback that can be an MVP caliber type quarterback in the division, like Dak was the first 6 weeks. He's the only one that has that ability. And the other teams are just going to struggle versus Dallas, because they have such an advantage at that position. Even if you're a fan of Jalen Hurts, I think even fans of Jalen Hurts would agree, like Jalen Hurts is not going to play like Dak did the first 6 weeks of last year. He doesn't have that ability. So, even at his best, Jalen Hurts is probably would be as good as Dak was in the second half of the season. A good quarterback, but able to be taken away with specific defenses. If you could take things away from the Eagles' offense, you can stop Jalen Hurts. Well, that was Dak's second half of the year. So I think at best, that's what you get from the Eagles. We all know what Carson Wentz is. He's terrible, and Daniel Jones is terrible. So I don't see a time where Dallas isn't going to fight to get 10 wins, because they have 5 to 6 in-division wins basically the next 2 years, almost certainly.
So you don't even think that with the addition of A.J. Brown, the improved defense, and another year with the same coaching staff, that Jalen Hurts could even be like 2018 Dak with Amari Cooper?
No, because he's not accurate enough. He doesn't throw for 60% completions. He's not. He has trouble throwing to one side of the field. He has trouble when he's made to scramble to one side of the field. He has trouble that in-division teams that know him will exploit him, and good defensive coordinators, because they understand, they're like, if you strangle off his ability to run and make him throw to certain areas, he's going to struggle. He's a limited quarterback. No matter how high you have him up, you understand that there's things that he's never going to be able to do well. He's just limited in that way. Not that they can't make the playoffs with him and can't win games with him, but just like Lamar Jackson won an MVP, but he's a little bit more of an elite athlete. Their system was a little bit better in Baltimore. They had people that fit there with Mark Andrews and stuff a little bit better. But I don't see Jalen Hurts even being able to become that, because he's not that level of athlete. He doesn't have that level of difference maker in him as a runner, to where he can't be eliminated from running. He's a good runner. He's not an elite runner. And then he's an okay passer. So, and the other two aren't even worth diving into. Carson Wentz is awful, and Daniel Jones is worse.
Man, my God, I guess I don't know, because I trust your football eye more than I trust mine. But this is something I guess we'll disagree on till we end up in the grave, because I look at Jalen Hurts and I see a lot of Dak Prescott, those qualities, and I don't know, maybe I need to watch the film more and look at him as a passer. But I see a lot of look at him growing from the first year with Peterson, and then his first year as the starter with Sirianni. I saw a lot of growth there, even with an inexperienced coaching staff, and some kind of not necessarily Devonta Smith being questionable, but just an inexperienced wide receiver. He did a lot with not a lot of help on as far as receivers go, when you look at Jalen Reagor and Quez Watkins.
He's a good leader like Dak. The locker room likes him, but he doesn't have the ability throwing that Dak does. You can limit him. Now, he'll do better with those receivers, because the stuff he can do, you can now coach up more. Like, you can do more things that he does well, because you have guys that'll do it better. But in the end, when the good D coordinators get a hold of, just watch what Dan Quinn did to him. It just look at what the good defensive coordinators will do to Jalen Hurts. Look at the Tampa Bay game. What did he throw? Like 47% or he doesn't throw the ball accurately enough, and there's too many areas of the field he doesn't throw well to. That even with it's got to be like enormous improvement, and he's not that type of talent.
All right, so back to the question, Mike. It's could the 22 regular season go, I guess, be a reverse of the 21 regular season? I think it could, just because you'd like to think that Tyler Smith, that he's going to progress and kind of be more comfortable, be up to game speed. Our offensive line will kind of be gelled, be comfortable playing together. Hopefully, Jalen Tolbert will have, kind of gotten comfortable and he himself playing up to the game speed and learn the offense well and made a connection with Dak. And of course, look at the defense. I know we lost Randy Gregory and Brent Urban, but I don't know. I feel like we brought back the most important pieces of our defense from last year.
When I read it, I read it as a reverse of last year. So like going 5-12 instead of 12-5.
No, sorry, what I meant to say, it's like, we saw how we played the first 8 weeks of the season. I meant we saw how we played the second 8 weeks.
Oh, I see. So struggle early and then.
Yeah. I'm sorry for not clarifying that. I wish you would have asked me that, dude. I'm sorry.
No, that totally makes sense. Yeah, for sure that could happen because, like you said, the development of the young players, especially since the team really went out and said, okay, we need a starter here. We need somebody, we need somebody to replace Connor Williams, who we left. Got him.
Mm-hmm.
We need somebody to replace Randy Gregory, who we left. Okay, well, we have guys, but here's an additional piece to make up for that loss. We need somebody to replace Cooper. Okay, well, we're hoping Lamb can do that, but then can Gallup replace Lamb? And then who replaces Gallup? Okay, well, here's Tolbert.
Yeah.
No Blake Jarwin. Now, I know he was hurt, but you still went into the season hoping for that second. Okay, well, let me get you a Ferguson that could play maybe the second tight end if McKeon, isn't a guy who's stepping up, or one of them gets hurt. So, yeah, they went through and Ridgeway replaces Urban. Well, maybe by the end of the year, he starts to build up his strength. He starts to get better. So, yeah, it absolutely could. Now that I understand the question, yes, it could be a reverse.
When I asked you when you gave your explanation, I was like, man, I don't know if I was confused. I didn't understand what you were saying, because you were talking about winning the division and everything, and talking about the other quarterbacks, and I was, I was trying to figure out where you were going with that.
I was thinking reverse, as in 5-12 instead of 12-5.
Right, I got you. Okay, so Mike, let's say we go 12-5, we make it to the playoffs again, but this year we win a playoff game. Should Mike McCarthy be brought back as the head coach?
Who do we play in the second round? How do we lose the game? That is going to be important. If you go into the second round and you're playing the number 1 seed, and you lose because Aaron Rodgers makes a great last play or Tom Brady makes a great last drive, I could see them bringing him back and going, okay, we improved. We got, the other quarterback got the ball last. They got us. It happened to the defense. So maybe that makes Dan Quinn not a, one where they're like, oh, Dan Quinn gave it up at the end, Then I can see it happening. But I honestly, they've done this whole year kind of like they did the last year of Jason Garrett. It feels like they're not all in, like they don't believe in the team. They'll sell it to you, but if you look at their actions, I don't believe they believe that this is a year for them. I believe it's, like I said last week, a developmental year. So I think Mike McCarthy's going to be gone unless he makes like a Super Bowl, basically.
It's crazy to think that even we might not be all in on this year. We're not really trying this year, that we're still the best division, the team in the division, and that we're the favorites to win the division.
We have a great quarterback. That's what sucks about the year. My phone's going off. Sorry, guys. That's what sucks about the year is you're wasting the 7th year of Dak. And they did it with Romo. They always thought, it's going to be another year. We have a great quarterback. But they never went all in and tried to do it that way. And look at what happened. Romo went out without it. So,
You know, I do think that if McCarthy were to win a playoff game, he would be brought back only because we don't know what's going to go on with Sean Payton. If he gets that TV money, will he want to leave TV and come and, you know, work those long 100-hour weeks like, you know, most coaches have to do, be away from the family and not getting paid as much as you can in TV. I mean, Sean McVay, he won a Super Bowl and he thought about leaving for TV. So I just feel like with the uncertainty in Sean Payton, and if he were to win a playoff game, and let's just say maybe the defense, maybe it regresses, how likely would Dan Quinn be able to come back and try to run it back and maybe, you know, give himself an opportunity to become the next head coach if McCarthy, for whatever reason, doesn't live up to the potential of the following year.
Did Sean Payton sign up to any TV things, though?
No, not that I'm aware of. The last thing I heard about him was that he was going to sign up with Amazon.
Yeah, see, I think unless that's done, I think he's coming back next year, and I think it'll either be Dallas or Miami if Brady decides to go back and kind of stick it to Belichick in the division.
How crazy would that be if Brady went to Miami? I can't believe that was actual possibility.
Brady to Miami with that young, with all those young weapons, that young defense, and Sean Payton coming along with him.
He wanted to go to Miami, and there was rumored he wanted to go to San Francisco too.
Yeah, that was his childhood team, but yeah. I don't think he would mesh with Kyle Shanahan.
No,
Shanahan's too much of a my way guy, and you know that fits when you have Garoppolo and Matt Ryan, but not when you have Tom Brady.
You know, talking about quarterbacks, Mike, we saw a report came out last week that at pick 88, the Cowboys had interest in Malik Willis. First of all, how much truth do you think there is to that, and what are your thoughts on that?
I think it makes sense. I don't know if it's true. I'd have to see who said that because I didn't hear any of those rumors. You know, if it's like Fish, then or you know the guy I don't like to name, the shitbag. If it's one of them, then no, I don't buy it because they're just doing stuff to get attention. But it makes sense. It's like a good gamble. Dallas needs a better backup. You know, he fits what Dak does. You know, a little bit of runner, big arm guy. They wouldn't have to change the playbook much, just shrink it down. Right. And it's a good lottery pick because if he does well, you can get him a good trade for him. You know, you use 88 on him. He plays well in the preseason, and we've seen people go crazy for quarterbacks. You may be able to get a first-round pick in return. And so, yeah, I think it would be a good gamble for multiple reasons. But do I believe it? Not really. If you put a gun to my head, I'd say it was false. They needed a receiver, so.
I wish I had because I was listening to it on 105 through the fan. I was hearing Brian Broaddus discuss it with the host on that show, and I don't remember who they said reported that, but if it's true, I mean, I don't hate the idea, only because again, like you mentioned, it would be nice to have a capable quarterback. Because I mean, I like Cooper Rush, but I don't know if I would trust him more than for one game. And if you think about it, I mean, Malik Willis is still pretty raw. You mentioned he does a lot of the same things as Dak. Well, could he sit behind Dak for 2 years and maybe when Dak's contract becomes a little bit, I don't know, maybe all the way till it's until 2026, could we potentially part ways with Dak and see what we have in Malik Willis? I mean, I think it's always nice to give yourself that kind of insurance.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I would like the gamble, the lottery ticket. Now, that being said, if they would have took Malik Willis over Jalen Tolbert, I might have punched somebody in the face. Jalen Tolbert was a blinking light at 80. I would have took Jalen Tolbert over Williams at 56. So I would have been like, what are we doing? We need a wide receiver. This guy falls out of the sky to you and stays till 88, and you take a backup quarterback. Now I'd have been pretty upset.
With this team, do you think that at pick 88, your day two guy, round 3 pick, do you think he needs to be a starter?
He needs to be a contributor, but he needs to be like Sam Williams. Like Sam Williams would have been the perfect pick at 88. He's not going to play as a starter, but he's going to get good, meaningful reps at an important position as a designated pass rusher. To start, that's his minimum contribution, as he will be a third down designated pass rusher And that's perfectly what you need for 80. If you just switch 88 and 56, I think, nobody would even complain. It's just the way it went down where it was, a lot of people felt like it was a stretch to go that early on Williams. But man, I went over more of his tape. Kid could be pretty good in a couple of years, man. I mean, he'll bring something now off the edge, but with a couple of years of development under Quinn, we could look back. There's going to be a lot of guys that we may look back and not give a shit where they got drafted in 2 seasons. We would be like, shit, somebody in the 15s or in the teens should have took Tyler Smith and be saying, I can't believe Williams got out of the first round. He could be a 10 sack guy. So we'll see how that goes, how they develop him.
What have you noticed in your second viewing of his film that you liked, that you might have missed, didn't notice at first?
He understands how to use his speed to his advantage in more ways than just being faster than I realized. Like, if you watch it, when he's stoned, when he gets somebody beats him in the spot,
yeah,
he's in trouble. He doesn't know how to hand counter. He doesn't have many moves past, but his speed is so unique and his get off is so good that a lot of times the offensive tackle really has to get out early to set. There's not many guys in the league. There's not a lot of Tyron Smiths in this league that are going to get out there and just swallow that dude up. Mm-hmm. So you get guys off balance, and he knows how to counter. He has a good feel of how to counter and when to counter an off balance tackle. Even guys that have more length than him, even guys that have more power, because they're off balance, he's able to impact them. And because you watch a lot of reps where you go, man, one-on-one, when his speed rush is beat, he can't get off people. He's just not strong enough yet. He doesn't understand pass rush moves yet well enough to beat people like that. That's absolutely true. But when he gets somebody off balance, he knows how to use that. And it's a factor in with his speed rush. It's just another element to his speed rush because he's such a threat. And a lot of times you could come in against bad tackles and he could use that. And it wouldn't surprise me if he had 6+ sacks this year just as a designated pass rusher, which would then freak people out. And people were like, oh, if he started, he could be a 12, 15 sack guy. And he probably couldn't because the more reps he got, the more he would be affected and blocked well. He's not going to be efficient in his pass rush, but he could be good in the right matchups.
So with just a little bit of technique, I mean, you're thinking that he could be not just a steal in the draft, but maybe be a better, higher quality player than you originally thought.
Yeah, I think legitimately in 2 years he'll threaten 10 sacks basically every season.
Oh,
he's
wow.
That guy. Yeah, his get off, he has that kind of get off and speed. And so when you have that, bad offensive tackles, average to bad, which there are a lot of them, have to get out and they're going to get off balance because of the fear of him running around them. And he's going to use that. He did it to, I posted, some guy was talking about how, with Nick, our boy Nick Herrera, some guy was talking about how when he beat Charles Cross, he never got a sack and he always beat him with speed around the edge. And I had just watched that and I was like, it's actually not true. I watched the first 5 reps he had against Charles Cross. It went, got him off balance with speed, beat him with his hands inside, got him off balance with speed, beat him with his hands inside, beat him inside and got double teamed by the guard, and then beat him inside again and almost got to the quarterback. The 4 of the first 5 reps were pressures on threatening with speed outside and beating him inside, and it was Charles Cross, and he did the same thing to Evan Neal. Because Evan Neal's, you're so worried about beating him out. Evan Neal's going, you're not strong enough to get by me. Yeah. I just got to beat you to the outside, and I've got you beat. but you overplay to the outside, and now I don't care how strong you are, you get out leveraged, and you're gonna get overpowered, and that's what Sam Williams was able to do against two top 10 tackles in the draft this year. So he's going to be able to do that to Young, and not, will he be effective against Trent Williams and Tyron Smith? And no, he's not. They're just too good. But could he get six? Would it surprise me? Would it even surprise me if he got 8 sacks this year as just a designated pass rusher? It wouldn't. If our team gets ahead in games on offense and we start going, let's get this kid reps. Let Tank get a break. We'll slide Dorrance over there. Let Williams get some reps against these guys, especially going against slower-footed right tackles. Just let Tank sit a little bit, get some rest. Let Williams come in and get these pass rush reps because we're up by 20 points on the Commanders. Let Carson Wentz have to face that rush. He could get 8 sacks this year. Wouldn't shock me. I would bet on 5-6, which is still, as a rookie, only designated pass rusher, 5-6 sacks would be awesome for Williams.
Yeah, with like 30% snaps.
Yeah. I wouldn't even – it'd probably between, 25 and 30. I wouldn't expect him to get more than 30%.
Would you be surprised to see Sam Williams beat out Dante Fowler and Dorrance Armstrong for a starting role?
Oh, yeah. He can't play the run almost at all. Dorrance Armstrong's a pretty solid run defender. It wouldn't surprise me if Dante Fowler didn't make the team, so I'm not, Dante Fowler has a contract where if Williams looks good, Dorrance Armstrong got 2 years.
Yeah.
Williams is a rookie. They still have Basham for a year. They have Chauncey Golston, Micah Parsons, and can play edge, and they have Tank. So would it shock me if they kept an extra DT and let Fowler go? No, it wouldn't shock me.
Is Sam Williams the type of player you can move around the line, or is he's strictly a defensive end?
He can, on third downs, he would give guards trouble, but he's like Tank. You don't really want him in there all the time getting beat up, But on 3rd and 8, you want to run a package of Tank and Williams inside with Parsons and Dorrance Armstrong off the edge. You could definitely do that.
Nice.
That'd be gross.
We were talking about Malik Willis and that capable backup quarterback, Mike, but you got me all excited about Sam Williams. Back to the backup quarterback discussion. Should Dallas invest in a more capable backup quarterback?
Yeah, because you can be when I'm not going to say injured, when Dak Prescott's hurt. A couple of years ago where Dak had to play with the shoulder issue. He couldn't practice all week. He played the Eagles.
Yeah.
They only played him because Cooper Rush, or was it even Cooper Rush?
I think it
might have been. I don't remember.
So I think it was Cooper. That's 20. You're talking about 2019, right?
Yeah, before Andy Dalton. Because that's why they went and got Andy Dalton. Because they basically had to play Dak, and he shouldn't have been playing. But they had no confidence in Cooper Rush. So they went out and got Andy Dalton. In case a situation like that happened, they could just say, hey, sit down. Andy Dalton could put 17 points up, and the defense hopefully can hold out. So, yeah, I would bring in a more capable backup if there's one available.
Yeah, agreed. So when you think about bringing in a capable backup quarterback, Mike, would Dallas be wise to bring in some competition for Dak?
No, Dak's the quarterback next 2-3 years, even if he regresses because of the contract.
Yeah.
Even with an out, the way they've moved the money around, it's just too much money for him not to be the quarterback the next 3 years. So he's going to be there. So competition, no. Good backup, yeah, but competition, no reason.
You couldn't see like an Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes effect for Dak if he had somebody that he felt was his competition. I feel like Dak would step up his game a bit with somebody behind him, not necessarily worried about losing his job, but maybe just somebody there to challenge him a bit.
If you watched with the Andy Dalton, there was half the fan base that was like, oh, we'd be not just the fan base, media people would be like, well, they wouldn't throw as much if they had Andy Dalton and they could play a more well-rounded game. No, he's a really great quarterback. Stuff happened last year, and we'll get into it. But if you look at the first 6 weeks of last year, only a handful of quarterbacks can be that good. And so, Dallas knows that. They watched the first 6 games, and looking at the way they attacked the draft, they know what happened the second half of the year.
I don't know. I kind of feel like I said, I think Dak would take his game up another notch, but at the same time, I think he would kind of welcome it. Like it would kind of give him a reason to work harder. Not that he needs one, but it would just give him another excuse to work even harder than he already does.
I just think he's not a quarterback that needs that. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers, I feel, needs that more. Like Jordan Love made him pick up his game. Dak, that mentality is not. Dak already has that. Dak basically hurt the year because of how hard he worked. Like he wouldn't take a break, and he ended up hurting his arm doing a Hail Mary, which is unnecessary. Like the calf strain was a lot due to him overworking his body throughout the offseason and the build up to playing. He doesn't need nothing like that. His mentality works. There's a reason this sweater, like he works different on the football field. He's always 110%.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more, Mike. But I know it's a sad thought. We don't want to think about it because we both love Dak. But at what point do you think Dallas should start looking at maybe replacing Dak?
I don't think they will, because what's going to happen is they're going to need to move the contract around for the next 3 years. So unless they hit like a Malik Willis that ended up, they got some guy in the next draft, fell to the 4th round. They took him, and then he became a Dak-like player for the next 2 years. And then, then the money that they pay Dak would offset the rookie contract, and it wouldn't be as big a deal. You could still build a team around it. Yeah. But really, the way they're doing the money, there's a $59 million cap hit that they're going to have to spread out next year. And it's going to push further. And what they're going to do is they're going to get that money to 2026. And then in 2025, they'll extend them. And then it'll start over again. And they'll start pushing the money again. And so, Dak's probably going to be here another 10 years. He's going to be the guy you hope you win with him. But he's gonna be the franchise guy, just like Romo was, until he can't do it physically anymore, or until somebody. Well, really, Romo, if he was able to do it physically, nobody would have thought Dak was taking his job if he could have played. He just kept getting hurt all the time. So until he can't physically do it, Dak's probably here. I would bet another 10 years.
Hey, I'm all about that. It kind of sucks that you're tied to him only because of money, because of course he's a great player. But at the same time, every quarterback, like, you have to be realistic. And of course, we think Dak can win a Super Bowl, but until he does it, he's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback, right? That being said, it's like, if he's here for the next 10 years, how many Super Bowl appearances would you guess Dak would make in the next 10 years?
With our front office, probably none. And I love Dak, but in order, the only way this front office wins is if they get a difference maker coach that drags them past the inability of the front office, that could develop players the way Jimmy Johnson did. Yeah. Or if they get a quarterback that's can always play at the level Dak did the first 6 games. If you can count on that every game from Dak, the level of the play he got from the first 6 games, no matter what's happening around him, then you'd convince me you'd be in a few Super Bowls. But you're not going to convince me this front office that has never done anything since basically, if you take Jimmy Johnson away, they've never done anything while free agency has existed. I don't believe in them. They don't use one part of what you need to do to win Super Bowls. So, I don't believe in them.
Do you think that in the next 10 years we could get one full season of the first 6 weeks of play from Dak? Could we get that for an entire season, do you think?
Yeah, I expect him to do that, honestly, 4 to 5 years over the next 10.
Kind of take like a Romo type leap where he's more of a student of the game and he just knows when to make the right plays, calling things to the line and everything. Yeah,
correct. We know exactly what he can do,
Yeah.
It's just about him repeating it and stuff. And there's nothing about him that he improves literally every single year. Always does. And so there's nothing that tells me he won't here either.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, the inspiration for tonight's episode was because of a I don't know what you want to call him, an analyst, I guess, of Jason La Confortas. He had some quarterback rankings come out last week. Before we kind of break those down, I want to hear first, but what were your thoughts on those?
They were bad. It was
really bad.
Yeah, it was a pretty terrible list. I figure you just go through the tiers and then I'll bring up shit tier by tier that I'm like, what the hell is this? Does that work for you?
No, that's fine. It's just, I mean, when I was looking at them, I didn't understand it, but it almost felt like satire.
Yeah, well, you have to remember, the first thing is, they're going to, whatever Dak really is, it's like a guy talking about how many women he's been with, but in reverse. Like when a guy's like, I've been with 10 girls, you're like, so you've been with like 4. You know what I mean? They're always, well, it's the other way with the Cowboys. You want to get noticed. You can't do Cowboys players in the regular place they're put. You've got to put them lower so that the Cowboys fans click on them and don't look and go, oh, that's about right. Okay, click off. You got to get them engaged. So any of these analysts, wherever they put them, put Dak a thing higher, and that's where they really think they are. That's almost and it has nothing to do with Dak. It has nothing to do with that. Romo, any of the next guy, if it's Andy Dalton, they'll do something. They'll put Andy Dalton higher just so Dak Cowboys haters go, wait a minute, why is Andy Dalton up higher? We know that guy sucks. Well, it's that you want to get Cowboys involved in a discussion. So normally none of their stuff is ranked correctly.
Right. Okay, so let's take a look at his rankings. First, he doesn't have them individual ranking. He has tiers. And here are his tiers. Tier 1 is the bona fide franchise quarterback. Tier 2 is top pros, proven winners. Tier 3 is rising stars. Tier 4 is you can win with them. Okay, so here in Tier 1, he has, in 2022, he has Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and Matthew Stafford. What are your thoughts on that Tier 1?
My first are, why are Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert in this tier right now? And even honestly, Burrow even right now. I mean, this soon after Lamar Jackson, since his injury, he just doesn't pass well enough. He's got to be an elite athlete. He hasn't played to the MVP level. He hasn't played as well as some people in tiers lower. Burrow and Herbert, why are they not in the where's the one? The rising stars? Like they're still rising stars. Like
Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, yeah.
Burrow made a Super Bowl, and credit to him, but I mean it's his first year. He got injured his rookie year. Like, can we watch him do it 3 or 4 years? At least 2 full seasons. Herbert hasn't done anything. He's been a very good quarterback. He's never took a team to a play. He hasn't done anything yet. Like, why would they be in franchise QBs? What has Justin Herbert done that Dak hasn't done? So somebody explain to me that. That makes no sense to me. What has Justin Herbert done that Deshaun Watson hasn't done? And I don't believe Dak or Deshaun belong in this tier. We're about to get into that in a second. But if Herbert is there, and even Stafford, he got on the Rams. Well, you'll see one of my tiers when we rank ours. You'll see one of my tiers that, I don't have Stafford as a franchise QB. He didn't do anything in Detroit.
Right.
At least Burrow took Cincinnati to the Super Bowl. There's been
not that far off of a different situation that Stafford was in his entire career.
Bingo. That's just where I was going. Cincinnati was a nothing franchise. Nobody that got Joe Burrow. Stafford had Megatron, and he went to a Super Bowl. The guy was getting crushed. He had no offensive line. His defense wasn't elite. They were good, and Stafford can't even win a playoff game. And we're talking about because he got on the Rams. How many people can go on the Rams and win? They go all in every year somehow and sign everybody, have elite players all over the place. And honestly, if Jekyll's Tart intercepts a pass up 10 with like 6 minutes to go, they lose to the 49ers in the NFC Championship, and everybody's blaming Stafford.
No.
That tier is way too many people in the franchise QB tier. Way too many.
So this tier was kind of confusing to me. It's tier 2. It's the top pros, proven winners, and it's Matt Ryan and Deshaun Watson.
What is this tier?
Yeah, and just for some reference here, Mike, in 2021 he had Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, who was still in Detroit, Ryan Tannehill, Dak Prescott, and Baker Mayfield. And that's tier last year. Okay,
proven winners. So somebody explain to me, minus 1 year where they went to the Super Bowl, what does Matt Ryan won? And how long ago was that? Like, does he just stay in that tier perpetually? Forever? No. And then Deshaun Watson's never won anything. What are we doing? He won a playoff game yet? Maybe one. I think they had one playoff win, maybe.
I think it was 2019.
It blows my mind. Who should be in this? There's where Dak Prescott is. Never had a losing season. Winning seasons. Proven winner. Has won 2 playoff games. Two? Was it? Did he? Okay, he beat Seattle, but not Detroit. That was Romo. He's won a playoff game. He's won the division multiple times. He's been a top 3 offense under Kellen Moore every time he's been healthy. What has Deshaun Watson won that Dak Prescott hasn't? Dak Prescott's been a better quarterback than him. Why would and there's no off the field concerns with Dak Prescott. So that tier blows my mind. That proven winners.
Yeah.
Watson's never won anything. Ryan has won 1 year with Kyle Shanahan and then did nothing since. So that tier should just be eliminated. Just take that tier off, move those 2 down to the next tier and move on.
This next tier is even worse, Mike. It's tier 3, Rising Stars. 2022, he has nobody.
Why
no Rising Stars?
Herbert, Joe Burrow.
Exactly.
Both rising stars. That is what they are. Herbert.
Tagovailoa.
I don't even think Tua belongs.
Really?
No, not in rising star. I don't think Tua has shown that he could be a star. Burrow and Herbert are 2 quarterbacks that look like they could be stars.
Yeah.
If they continue to develop in how they're playing. They both belong in that category. I don't know what he's doing. Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow are in no way a Pat Mahomes, a Brady, a Rodgers, or an Allen right now. They just aren't yet.
Right.
They're rising to that.
And so just, guys, those who are listening, tuning in with us, you've noticed that we have not yet said Dak Prescott's name. So here we are at tier 4, and it's you can win with them. And he has Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Jameis Winston, Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones, and Tua Tagovailoa. I don't understand why Dak is grouped with those guys, but at the same time I do, only because of the lack of playoff success.
Do you remember what I told you about lists like this? Dak is 1 step above this group. It's exactly the reason he's in it. The reason he's in this group is because of the effect I said about Cowboys fans. They want people talking about it. So they drop him into the set. Not a one of these quarterbacks has ever had a year like Dak's first 6 games last year before the injury and the adjustment by defenses, realizing that, we can't run the ball. We have no offensive line. They none of them has played like Dak. Dak was a MVP candidate the first 6 weeks. None of these guys have played like MVP candidates. I could be talked into Derek Carr being up there with Dak. He's been a very, very good quarterback. And Cousins is a stat guy that never wins in a big situation. Tannehill, he's Titans are everything but him. He's the extra guy. Kyler Murray's never done anything. I don't even think he's been to a playoff game. He's never
They
been
got smoked
good.
last year.
Yeah, they get to the second half of the year and he wears down because he's a smaller quarterback. He gets beat up.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing with Jameis Winston and Mac Jones and Tua? Those three make no sense in this category.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts, I believe, should be in Rising Stars. He should be there.
Okay.
Even if you don't think he is a Herbert and a Burrow, maybe they are more passers, but Hurts can win in his unique way. He made the playoffs already. Like, he's a rising star quarterback. So this tier makes no sense. I would throw Dak and Carr up in the top pros tier, the proven winners tier, with Stafford, with Russell Wilson, with Lamar Jackson. And then I would have up-and-comers have Hurts, Herbert, and Burrow. And then Jones, Tua, Cousins, Tannehill, Murray, Winston would be under those. In another tier, it's like, you don't know yet.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, I have a question here lined up that we discussed, but I think I'm going to skip it because I feel like the obvious answer is yes. So let's just go straight here to our quarterback rankings and tiers.
Got it.
So, Mike, let's start us off. What's your first tier, and how did you label it?
All right. So first tier, let me go forward here. Skip that one. All right. First tier was the elite tier. Use that word however you want. They're the best of the best. Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady are pretty obvious. I stuck Allen up there this next year. His regular season wasn't quite up to that level, but the way he performed in the postseason was so incredible that I thought it was fair to move him up into that elite tier. And then if he doesn't perform this year up to that standard, he moves back down. That's fine. Russell Wilson once was in the elite tier. I don't have him there anymore. So, that's the tier going into this year. So that's my tier one. Do you want me to go through mine, or do you want to?
We'll go tier by tier.
Okay.
So for me, I have my tier one. Of course, I refer to this one as elite as well. Pretty similar to yours. I have Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Josh Allen. I actually don't have Aaron Rodgers here, Mike.
You don't have the MVP?
Only just because maybe I'm holding that playoff game last year against him. But of course, he is the MVP. We know what his track record is. But outside of that one Super Bowl, I mean, he hasn't been back, and that's been over at least 10 years.
Man, that's tough, man. He's really freaking good. But all right, let's see what the next tier is before I judge.
My next tier, I actually texted you asking about this, but I have my next tier is labeled All Pro, and I asked you if you thought elite and All Pro were the same thing or were they different?
Yeah, they're different. There's levels to All Pro and elite. I'll admit that.
Agreed. And here, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson.
No Russell Wilson in there.
Not an All Pro.
I like that. All right. I do not have Dak that high. Not up in a tier with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, really? Okay.
So my second tier is kind of a playoff, the La Confortas Rising Stars. I put could be elite, could be a step above the next tier, but they're too young to know, and that's Burrow and Herbert. So I'm not going to say they're better than everyone in the next tier, but after this year, we might look and go, no, these two belong in that elite tier. They're like, if they continue to develop the way they are now, they'll be in the elite tier in another season.
All right, Mike, what's your tier 3 label and who's in there?
Okay, so the third tier is can win a Super Bowl if you're the Rams QB.
Oh,
that's the tier of, I guess you'd call them like proven winner types. Like if in the right, you can win with them in the right situation. This tier has Stafford, who just did it. Yeah. Russell Wilson, who did it with Seattle when they had the Legion of Boom. And I believe Dak, because I don't believe Dak's been on a team like that. But the closest thing he had was his rookie year.
Yeah.
And they went 13-3. They dominated for a while. They were number 1 seed, and they got knocked out by a great performance in the end by an elite quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, who cut them up early. And then Dak led them back, matched them, played really well, tied the game up. And then Rodgers got him at the end of the game. That's so. And then watching the first 6 weeks when Dallas was, they were healthier, the run game was going, before defenses kind of figured something out in the offense, he was just killing people. He even broke records against Bill Belichick in New England, like the all-time defensive coach. He cut him up. And so, yeah, that's where I have Dak in that next line with those other two.
Yeah, I can't really argue with you there. Mike, here, my tier 3, it's going to be Pro Bowl, and I only have one guy, and it's Mr. Russell Wilson.
Okay, that's fair. I can see that. He's a level above the guys coming up, so I understand where I would probably have Lamar Jackson in that tier. If I was doing tiers like yours, I would drop him down a little bit at this point
right.
Of where he's at. The same as Russell Wilson. At one point, he was all the way up at elite. Now he's kind of about where you put yours.
We could see the return of the elite Russell Wilson here, this year.
Yes, you could. You could at least into the All-Pro. At minimum, he could be back into that All-Pro 100%. My next tier could be in the Super Bowl convo, but there's questions.
Okay.
And that's where I have Lamar Jackson. Can he do something if forced to throw? Watson, how is he going to be with the time off and playing through all the controversy? Derek Carr, I think he puts up excellent numbers as a quarterback, but can he take that next step with the team? Kyler Murray, he really hasn't done anything, but he has enough talent too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he can hold up to the NFL beating. Hurts, kind of the same type of thing, but can he develop a little bit more as a passer? And then Cousins, who always puts up stats, but never seems to, take
the next
step. I would put him a little under Derek Carr slightly, but they're the same type. So that's my tier 4.
My tier 4, Mike, it's going to be young studs. I have here Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow.
Okay, that's fair. It's like the future stars. I think those 3 all belong. I think that's very fair.
So just to recap, my top 10 quarterbacks would be Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow. The only difference is it sounds like I didn't have Stafford, and you might not have had. You had Russell Wilson in yours and Jalen Hurts, right? So who am I missing?
I'll look through mine. Just to let you know, I had one more tier that was too young to know, and that's Wilson, Fields, Trey Lance, Tua, Mills from Houston, and Mac Jones. All the rest of them are in the bottom tier.
Gotcha. So you ranked more than 10, though.
My top 10 QBs, let me see. I had that over here. Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, Allen are the 4 that I would put clearly ahead based on Allen's playoff performance. Okay. You add him in there. I think Burrow and Herbert are questionable there. I think they played better than him to end the year. Mm-hmm. Will they continue to improve? So you can give both of those. I wouldn't argue with you. So that's 6. And then where Dak would be is in the next realm. I think he's played better than Wilson the last 2 years combined. And I think combined the last 2 years, he's played better than Stafford, but Stafford did win a ring. So I would give Stafford the edge on that only and have it Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, Stafford. Dak would be 8 for me. Wilson being 9. And I believe I would go Derek Carr 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I would, because I believe I can count on him to play quarterback better than I can Lamar Jackson and Watson. If Lamar Jackson is behind, then I think they have trouble because they have to throw. And Watson, he hasn't played in a while. What are you going to do?
I got you. So it sounds like you ranked a few more than 10, Mike, but who do you have at quarterback? Who is your quarterback 11 and why?
Watson. I think he can be as good as top 5, but I got to see him play through this controversy and through one full season off and probably a full season suspension, which is why I think Baker Mayfield is staying in Cleveland right now.
Okay.
hoping that Cleveland, at least 10 games, maybe a full season for Watson, suspension wise. So he may be coming off 2 years off, and I'm still giving the respect of putting him 11th. So, it shows what I think of him as a quarterback. Although I think people are crazy to put him above Dak. Like, he's literally done nothing Dak hasn't done. And
Right.
Dak's better statistically. He's never had a receiver as good as DeAndre Hopkins. Like, so it weirds me out that people so definitively put Watson better than him.
Mhm.
I feel like that's a bias against Dak. Like, if you look at them both, they both won one playoff game. They both have put up good stats, but Dak's put up better the last few years than Watson ever has. Dak has no controversy. Dak's been a better leader for his team. And then there's the whole having this whole time off. So, I'm not putting Watson above Dak, but I'll give him the respect of putting him right there near the top 10.
Mike, it's funny you mentioned that because Watson hasn't played, he just kind of slipped my mind. So he didn't make it in my top 11. But of course, if I were to redo them, I would probably have him in my top 11, at least top 12. But my quarterback 11 is going to be Mr. Trevor Lawrence. Reason being, it's going to be the age and upside are the biggest reasons why. But also, I think this is going to be the year why he reminds people why he was the number one pick, because I like the offense that he has, and I'm a big believer in Doug Peterson.
Yeah. Doug Peterson can call a good game. He won with a backup quarterback. He won the Super Bowl. So that tells you, he can do some things well.
Yeah, and I think he would be the type of coach that can get along with a younger team that can, not lose that locker room, develop guys, and kind of get them to believe in the message.
Yeah, I think Carson Wentz kind of soiled them. The fact that Carson Wentz came in as a number 2 overall pick ruined it, because people couldn't just go, well, Wentz just isn't that good. And so they fired a pretty decent coach, thinking, oh, Wentz had this 1 year where he was really good, where he was like, he was doing something on third downs that just wasn't sustainable in real life and NFL football. Just people don't do it. And he just had one of those miraculous years. And other than that 1 year, he's been a below average to bad quarterback every year of his career. So, Doug Peterson kind of got the hook for that.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mike. So here we are with Mike and Paul's view from the front row. It's actually going to be your view from the front row tonight, because you recently watched Doctor Strange. I'm interested because you tweeted out after you saw it that Marvel had their first scary movie. So can you talk to us a little bit about Doctor Strange 2?
When you this is like the 25th movie in the line from Iron Man, Disney, Marvel. And when you make that many, you've got to switch stuff up. It's why Thor Ragnarok, they decided to make that a comedy, like a straight up comedy movie. Shang-Chi was like an old school Chinese kung fu, Jackie Chan type movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've got to do things differently. You can't just produce the same movie over and over. So with Doctor Strange, Marvel said, let's go hit the horror genre. That's basically what they did. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was excellent. It was a really, really I am not a horror movie fan. And about an hour into it, you kind of realize like, oh, this is why they brought Sam Raimi on, because Sam Raimi directed The Evil Dead's Army of Darkness, and it's like if Marvel did Evil Dead. I mean, it's like that. And it was just an excellent movie. They had really good surprises. There's a couple that are like, oh my God moments. The action was very good, and it had the villain was such a good villain that it's like when you take a horror, it's like if you have a horror movie and the villain's just dominant, like you really have no chance against it. Well, what do you do then? And it makes for scary situations, because everybody's always in threat. Everybody, because the villain is so dangerous that you don't know anybody that runs into the villain could be killed. And so it makes it really, really authentically scary that you could lose a character that you really like because the villain's so good. So I like the movie a lot. I highly recommend it. It didn't make into my top 5 or anything.
Gotcha.
But it's very, very good. Well worth paying to see. barely over 2 hours, which is a shock for a Marvel movie, and it was just well done. I highly recommend it.
If somebody hasn't seen the first Doctor Strange, could they go see the second one and be fine and not be lost or anything?
You could, but go to Disney Plus and go to Avengers Legends and watch the little 7-minute clips they have. They have 3 of them. They have one on Doctor Strange, which basically takes you through his first movie and all the way through Endgame. It'll do Wanda, who's in it, and it takes her through Ultron all the way through WandaVision. And then it also does Wong. And Wong is from the first Doctor Strange through like Shang-Chi, where he has his little parts in that, and Endgame. Yeah. And so, watch those. It's 21 minutes total, and it'll basically get you set up to watch Doctor Strange 2.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about it, so it makes me want to go see it.
Go see it. 100% go see it. You won't be disappointed. It's not Spider-Man Far From Home. The way they repurpose the villains and the old Spider-Man people in that is unbelievable. I wouldn't put it that high, but man, for having to do it the way that Doctor Strange has to do it, making a horror movie, really quality movie, really, really good.
Yeah, I'll have to go check that out. So, all right, Mike, here we are with top 5, and I want to give a big shout out to Mr. JJ for tonight's topic. You can find JJ on Twitter at JJ Tour Let's Go. That's going to be capital J, capital T, and then capital L and Let's, and then capital G and Go. This week, JJ would like us to rank our top 5 vegetarian meals dishes. So, Mike, start us off. What is number 5 on your top 5 meatless meals dishes?
All right, I'm going to throw this one in just because I had it today and it promotes the business. Daphne's, you can get the falafel wrap or the falafel pita. So that's going to be my honorable mention. I ate that today. It was actually really, really good. And I like to put this garlic, the garlic sauce that Muhammad actually makes himself. It's not from the restaurant. He does it. And I mix that in with rice. And then I break up a couple of the falafel in there. And then I take the garlic hummus, which I make, and I put that in the pita or the wrap, and I put falafel in there and then eat that with whatever else is in there. So that is my honorable mention. For number 5 is what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. It's a salad, romaine lettuce, black beans, kidney beans, apples, and walnuts. And you put them with honey mustard dressing, and it's like sweet and tangy, and it makes it easy to eat a salad because of the sweetness. And I have these are the walnuts I use. They're glazed walnuts. I don't know if you can see on there, guys. See, maybe. Let's see. Can you see it? See the walnuts?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See how they're glazed? Wow.
So almost like they're candied.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Very nice.
Really good. And it brings a little bit of sweetness. And then the dressing is very vinegar and mustard based, only a little bit of honey. And that offsets the sweetness of these and the apple. And then beans are for protein, and they add like you know how beans taste? Like they add some depth behind the salad. It's really good.
Yeah. So the honey mustard dressing, is it more like a vinaigrette type, or is it your traditional honey mustard?
It's 1 part oil to 1 part vinegar, so it's very acidic. Most are 3 parts to 1. Yeah. I do 1 to 1. A tablespoon of mustard, a tablespoon of honey, salt, pepper. Man, I feel like I'm missing something. Maybe that's it. And then whisk it together. If I'm missing something, I apologize.
Okay. Well, Mike, number 5 on my list, a shout out to my Nana, RIP, actually, who put me on these at a young age, but I'm going with the grilled cheese sandwich, man.
Legendary.
It's not really necessarily a meal or anything, but, the way she used to make it, it's very filling, so it really actually is a meal.
I have a feeling that we're going to have such separate ones because I cook.
Yes, we are.
Meatless Monday.
Right.
It's going to be like your basic, like grilled cheese. And then it's going to be this weird ass shit that I put together like a salad with specific stuff in it. And
yeah. That'll be a nice balance.
It'll make it interesting. Pardon me. I really like those walnuts.
So, Mike, number 4 for me. I got to go with the cheese enchiladas, rice and beans. I feel like cheese enchiladas are an overlooked part of Tex-Mex cuisine, Mexican cuisine, whatever you want to call it. But, man, a good cheese enchilada, especially when they, like, have those grilled onions on the inside with the cheese. Dude, so good.
Is the rice and beans are just on the outside? They're your sides, right?
Yeah.
See,
so that would be, that's what makes it a meal.
When you eat it, you got to get some rice and some beans on your fork, and then cut the enchilada, and it's like it's all together. In my opinion,
combo bite, baby. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
I thought you didn't like your food to be touching, and you didn't like the combo bite.
There's certain things that you need the combo bite in. That's one of them.
Yes, dude, absolutely. Okay, so what's number 4 on your list?
Number 4 on my list is the cauliflower crust pizza. So it's obviously not with meat. So what I like to do on Meatless Mondays when I'm doing the cauliflower crust pizza is sun-dried tomatoes, and then I have Calabrian chilies, which are a really spicy chili that you can make like a honey oil out of it, or just put it in with the sauce, or put it on top. But that the spicy Calabrian chilies with the sweet sun-dried tomatoes, and then a little bit of basil at the end, or even a pesto will work.
Oh man,
so good,
fantastic, dude.
It's so good.
Well, what's number 3 on your list?
Number 3 on my list is a cheese quesadilla, and you guys know I eat those all the time. Almost every Meatless Monday, I'm like, well, I had a cheese quesadilla. The key, cheese has to be on the outside and the inside. One side of the quesadilla, you have to put cheese on it. So when you flip it, you put the quesadilla down with the tortillas. It's 2 tortillas, cheese in the middle. Put the cheese on top. It starts to melt while it's cooking on the other side. Then you flip it and let it get crusty. You also add salt and pepper on the inside and on the top cheese, because you need to add salt and pepper because your flour tortillas, and cooking in oil and butter, both, because it'll get you the browning and the crispness. So there's technique to great grilled cheese. There really is. It's not just put cheese between 2 tortillas. That's good. Yeah. That's, it's like, any cheese quesadilla is good. Yes, but there's levels.
Oh, for sure. So what's your preferred cheese for the cheese quesadilla?
Probably pepper jack. I'll go basic.
Okay.
I'm not going to put Gruyere in there. If I'm doing a grilled cheese, that's Gruyere. But if you're just doing your basic cheddar, Monterey Jack, pepper jack, I like pepper jack.
Yeah, I've never had a pepper jack quesadilla, but that sounds pretty good. I always went with the, like your cheddar cheese or a Colby Jack.
Colby Jack's great too. A little mix of Monterey Jack and cheddar, yes.
Mike, number 3 on my list. Again, shout out to my Nana here. It was her homemade mac and cheese with green beans and cornbread. That was something we had pretty often. She grew up on a farm and everything. They didn't always have a lot of meat, so she got creative. She didn't as she got older, she didn't eat a lot of meat either. But that was one of her like infamous meals. And when I was younger, I would get kind of mad at like, where's the meat at? Like where's the chicken and stuff. But as I got older, man, I grew to appreciate that meal.
So I'm going to tell you, 2 of your dishes were on my initial. When I first started doing this, I had a few of them, and the first one, the cheese enchiladas, I said, well, I like chicken enchiladas more. So I said, okay, so I'll find something else. That one can move down the list. And for the macaroni and cheese, I like to bake macaroni and cheese with bacon in it. So I looked at my list and I said, well, I prefer the one with bacon. And what's weird is when we get to my next one, you're going to think like, well, yeah, but don't you like that better with me? No, I don't. I like the veggie options of these better. So my next 2 ones, you may think like, well, how come that didn't work for the mac and cheese? It's not. I like the vegetarian options better for the top 2 than I do the ones that I make with meat. So that's that. I had both cheese enchiladas and mac and cheese on my initial. They both belong in any top 5. I just happen to make so much from doing Meatless Monday that it's hard to make like I could do a top 20 like in a breeze.
Okay, Mike, here, number 2 on my list. I'm going with some Italian here. I'm going fettuccine Alfredo.
Oh, great one. And another one that would make it, but I like it better with shrimp or chicken.
Oh, dude. Chicken Alfredo, brother. It's seafood Alfredo with scallops and shrimp, dude.
Yes.
Holy
Either.
cow.
But I'll
Yes.
eat it all day without them too. So that's why it definitely belongs on the list. 100%.
I assume you have your own Alfredo recipe.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's actually, it's not the one I use all the time, but if I'm doing a basic one, there's one that Michael Simon has. It's under a 5 ingredient thing. And it's like water, Parmesan, salt. It's like, it's easy. I don't even think it has cream in it. Yeah, I think they finish it with butter, and it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll get that to you. It's from his first 5 and 5 cookbook. I remember it 100%.
Hey, don't judge me, but my favorite fettuccine Alfredo is from the Olive Garden.
I get people that say Olive Garden isn't Italian. I understand what you're saying, but I'll destroy their soups and their breadsticks and their Alfredo is pretty good. You got to avoid their red sauces. They don't.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, the red sauces you're not going to match up with, but Alfredo, the breadsticks, and the soups, all very good.
Smash, dude.
Yes, agreed.
The Zuppa Toscana, brother. Seriously, man.
But the pasta fagioli, the one with the beans, it's like a chili type soup.
Yeah, like Italian chili type thing.
All day. I'll eat that all day.
So, Mike, what's number 2 on your list?
Number 2, veggie fried rice.
Oh, I almost had that on mine, but I don't eat it enough, dude.
And the reason that I have that is what happens is I go shopping. When I go shopping, I load up on veggies, and I tell myself, well, I can make zucchini noodles with this, and I could do chicken and zucchini, and I'll use mushrooms, and I'll stuff mushrooms, and I'll have 17 different dishes in my head. And then I won't get to everything because I won't be able to use it. And at the end of the week, I'm looking and going, oh, my zucchini is about to go bad. My mushrooms, I have Brussels sprouts. Whatever, I'm telling you, asparagus. I don't care what vegetable you have. I can saute it. I can throw it in my fried rice with some sambal, some soy sauce, some ginger, some garlic.
Yeah.
And you're going to tear it up. You're going to destroy it. So, I mean, I've had fried rice with asparagus, Brussels sprouts, portobello mushrooms, and zucchini 10 times, and it's incredible. Any vegetable that you have going, carrots, you name it, celery, I could put it in there and it'll be bomb.
A low-key underrated Chinese takeout dish for me is the vegetable kung pao. I usually add chicken, but even if I didn't, I bet it'd still be amazing.
Yeah, you could definitely get vegetable. If you want something that's like meat related, you have to get one that has eggplant or mushrooms, big enough piece of mushroom, and then it feels like you're eating some meat.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike. Here we are at number 1. What made the top of your list?
This should be an easy one. I think it was my number 1 when we did like top meals that you make or whatever. Corn risotto. When Fresno State corn is in, the best corn on this planet Earth, when it is in, I have to do corn risotto like 5 times because it is just, it's creamy and cheesy, and the corn is sweet, and it is just, it's perfect. It's plain and simple my favorite meal. Not just meatless. It is my favorite meal when Fresno State corn is the corn I'm using. I use the stalks to make the broth for the risotto to put the liquid. It's perfect. Perfect meal.
Well, way to maximize those ingredients, sir.
Yeah, got to do it, man. Got to do it.
All right, so number 1 on my list, Mike. This is probably better in the winter, but this is something I ate a lot growing up at a restaurant. Are you familiar with the restaurant called Black Eyed Pea?
No.
Kind of like a chain. It's just kind of like home cooking. It's a chain. It was a chain here that me and my mom ate at a lot when I was growing up. But broccoli and cheese soup again with cornbread, dude.
I love it. Interesting fact, I would not eat broccoli or cheese. I never tried it until I was over 25 years old. before I would try
Wow.
broccoli cheese soup or eat anything with broccoli. I was a very picky eater until I started cooking when I got sick. And then now I'll destroy broccoli cheese soup now. Like I make a really Instapot recipe that takes like 20 minutes to make it. And it is incredible. Yeah, it's so good. And so, yeah, you throw that any day in a top 5 and I'll be happy.
You know, I'm kind of surprised that neither one of us had like an eggplant parmesan on our list.
It was my 8th.
Really?
Yeah, it's my 8th one. It's under, I had the mac and cheese 6th. I had I had the Daphne's, the falafel 6th, mac and cheese 7th, the cheese enchiladas after that, and then the one you just said that's blanking on me. What'd you just say?
Broccoli and cheese soup?
No, the one can't believe we didn't have it on there.
Oh, eggplant parmesan.
Eggplant parmesan was just after cheese enchiladas.
So Mike, our guy JJ, he said, I already had dinner on East Coast, but I'm hungry again.
Bro, corn, you come here and get corn risotto. Don't, bro.
You know, I think
I'm not gonna say that. I was gonna say bad.
Maybe next week we'll rank our top 5 midnight snacks.
Oh, that's a good one. That might get these back involved.
Dude, glazed pecans or of any nut, dude, are so good, bro. Candied pecans.
You went a little dirty with it there, but that's all right.
Oh, bro, that looks phenomenal, dude. Are they spicy at all or just sweet?
When I make them homemade, I put cayenne pepper for the salad.
Dude. Yeah.
But these are from Winco, and they're only sweet.
You get a pretty good deal on it. It looks like a big bag.
They're like $4.98 a pound, which is not bad for nuts.
Wow, yeah. That's super cheap because like cashews, pistachios, crazy expensive.
What I do is I stick them in the freezer. So nuts will go bad on you. They have oils. Mm-hmm. So be careful with that. A lot of people think you just throw them up somewhere for a long time. No. Freeze them.
Oh, interesting. I'm surprised that M&M hasn't had like a pecan or a walnut M&M. You think that would work?
M&M, the rapper. I think they do have an almond one.
No, they have an almond, but like a pecan or a walnut. Too pricey? I got
walnuts and pecans are too much money.
You know, a girlfriend of mine back in high school, she told me that in Las Vegas, because her family went there every year, that there's like this M&M land, and they have all these varieties of M&Ms that you've never heard of. Have you ever been to Vegas?
Recreationally, I haven't, but I've been there working a million times, Vegas and Reno. But I haven't took a trip there just to be in Vegas. Yeah,
I got you.
Too much Disneyland.
Well, Mike, we've been trying here lately to keep our episodes under an hour, and here we are, close to an hour and a half, sir.
I knew this one was going to be long because it was DAC, and we cut out. I had a page of notes for another discussion about last season and stuff that we didn't even get to. So let's be glad you cut that question out because yikes.
Yeah, I mean the Sam Williams discussion, I thought that was good, but had we discussed 1 or 2 questions that I cut out, I feel like this would be approaching 2 hours.
Yeah, we don't need that. We need to be cutting this shorter. I just talk too much.
Hey, Mike, as always, I enjoy the discussions. While we're getting you out of here, remind the people where they can find you on Twitter.
At CD Piglet, guys. If I'm ever on, I'm hardly on. I'm like on so little compared to how I have been, but I'm on there still at CD Piglet. Nice.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. I want to say shout out to JJ. Hey, man, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for tonight's top 5 topic. But guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.